Good morning and welcome. My name's Barbara Gray, and we're ready to launch a wonderful new collection of stamps for your good selves. So come on in, join the party. It's the best of clarity today, I can tell you. So we're looking forward to this. I'm on my own because Paul's up at Hobby Maker, set to do a show at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. So now where did I put that piece of paper? So come on in. We're early to the party. Lovely Grace is in the room with yourselves. Yeah, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock on Hobby Maker. Lovely Grace is there as well. So she's in the country too. So she's only next door here. Welcome to Clarity. And it's a sunny Friday day. And I'm very pleased to be showcasing these lovely stamps. I think you're going to enjoy them. And of course, we're in Japan month, so this has got a little bit of a Japan kind of a Japanese atmosphere, flavor. More will be revealed. So come on in. I'm sure that once our friends find us, you're going to really enjoy these stamps. Now, as far as shopping goes, let me just say that you can see already on the screen, there's a panel. And the panel tells you exactly what's on offer today. We'll go into it in more detail once a few more friends find us, because we're not even at 10 o'clock yet. But I just wanted to make sure that the streaming was good. It's really important that we get this right today. And yeah, so, and relax, Barbara. I wanted to talk to you about the product of the month. Have a quick look at that. So you know, of course, that when you drop any one of the 4 products of the month into your basket while you're shopping with us, that unlocks double points on the entire basket. So you just have to put one of the 4 things into your basket, and then whatever else you buy also gets double points, which is building up nicely. I know, I can see how it's working for yourselves. So, so in a moment, we'll take a look at the products of the month, and then we'll get into the actual, the launch of these beautiful branches, twigs and sprigs with their dragonflies. It's a different kind of line art. I drew them with a different feel, a different style, and I think they're just perfect. We've also added a wonderful set of very atmospheric background papers, card actually, which just, it's half the job done really, because the backgrounds are so subtle. But you know, when you want to get that really emotive, misty look, it's not always that easy, is it? So we thought we'd do it for you, and I think you'll enjoy them too. So I've got some really nice demos to show you too. And other than that, I think we're good to go. So in a moment, oh, it's 10 o'clock now. So I'll show you the product of the month. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll move on. So come on in, and let me just grab the product of the month up. Right, so we've got there it is, floral hearts and stamps. So this is the first of the products of the month. In fact, to save some time, perhaps I'll just go to the, let me show you, because you do want to see them. And I think we can always use the full screen graphics later, but just to recap. But just for now, let's take a look at the actual product of the month. So there are 4 different ones. These are the stamp set, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see it on the screen here. This is how it comes to you, complete with masks, very important. Here are some artwork just to show you what you can be done. Let's just come in a little bit closer on that. I seem to have lost the, just bear with me a second. Where has that gone? That's interesting. Where's that gone then? The actual, oh, here it is. I think this is it. Got moved. Let me just make sure it is it. Yeah, it is. Okay, so you can see here, this is some of the artwork that we're able to create using these beautiful stamps, mixed media, arty, overlaid with the masks, gold embossed, beautiful clarity, quality, very lovely. You're my everything. Again, the masks do the work for you, the little balloon stamp. So just showing you some ideas. Now this is using the stencil, which is also a product of the month, but you can see here just how interesting this work is. So there you go. That's the first one, which is the stamps. So we'll put that to one side. Next up, after the stamps, I'll just leave that with me. The next up is, let's look at the Groovi plate. No, let's look at the stencils because they kind of go together. So when we look at the stencils, okay, right, stamps, 1, 2, 3, 0, 4. Pop them in your basket. Everything else doubles in points. Then we've got a pair of stencils. So here they are, same design as we just saw with the stamps, except that what we've got is, these are really clever because you've got the inside and you've got the outside. So it's like a double stencil, really. You've got the heart and then you've got the floppy bit that goes inside. So this is a really great, it's like with Groovi, it's like a plate mate. It's a stencil mate. It holds it in place while you're working. So if you missed the show last Friday, we launched these and I did a cool demo using them. So that's something to consider. Pair of stencils, the Duo 0119. Let me just find it for you on here. That's the stamp and mask. That's the stencils there. There we go. The Rose and Petunias Floral Heart Stencil 7x7 Duo. So make a note of these numbers, 01119. And I'm sure that Grace will be giving you the links as well. So that's the second of our products. And there are just a couple of samples to show you how they work beautifully independently, but they also work in conjunction with said stamps. So really nice in the background there. Very pretty indeed. Next up, let's go to Groovi. So these hearts lend themselves beautifully to Groovi plates. So we've created an A6 plate and a banner, inset or a panel to fill the A5 square aperture in the starter kit. So you can see here, lovely flowers, great artwork again. And what we did in the with the little infill, we added we love you, sending our love from us with love, because all too often it's you're my everything, but very often you're making art from yourself and your husband or from yourself and your partner. So so that's why we thought it'd be nice to have one of these lovely little additions with our and we. So you can see here what they look like. This is called a spacer plate because it fills the space on the A5 square aperture. Now check out the artwork, just some little ideas and inspiration. Look how gorgeous that is for an anniversary or a wedding card. You're my everything. What a beautiful card. Here it is in blue. And here's a really kooky one from Carol Baker. Love that. Very modern, Swalk signed with a loving kiss. Do you remember those days? Yeah, I do. So you can see on the screen here, let me just go to that particular set, Groovi plates. There we are. You can see here 4261, and that then will, if you add that to your basket, that also unlocks double points. Now, last but not least, we've got our parchment, rainbow parchment, back in stock. Beautiful. So let me just find that on the screen. Okay, 42624. Let's take a look at this lovely parchment. So it's designer parchment. And you can see here, it's the rainbow parchment. 4 different patterns, 3 sheets of each. So there are 12 sheets of beautiful parchment here. And also the matching paper. We call it intensifier. It's a color intensifier because it sits exactly underneath the color. So for each one of these, there's one of these. and that will make the parchment more vibrant. Here are some examples using that beautiful rainbow parchment. So if you pop this in your basket, again, this is something well worth having and very useful. Also works beautifully, I have to say, for stampers and any kind of paper crafting. So that's the rainbow parchment. You can see it on the screen here, and it's $24.99 for both of those packs. And of course, you get your additional club discounts, as you can see in the teal panels underneath. So if you're a gold member, for example, then you save $2.50. You could save £3.75 if you're a member of all three clubs. But the main thing is, if you add this to your basket, then you unlock double points on the entire basket. So since there are 4 things for the month of March, you know, you can use one each time you come shopping. Just saying. Okay, so how are we doing? All is well, says Grace. It's lovely to have her here. That's that covered. I'll tick that box. I've shown you the different products of the month. And now we move on to our product of the day. So if I come into that big bundle, you can see here there are 3 sets of stamps, 2 A5 sets of twigs and sprigs and branches. And then there's an A6 set of dragonflies or damselflies. Very lovely anyway, even if I say so myself. I think they're lovely and they work really nicely with the papers that are there as well. So are you sitting comfortably? Then I will begin, and we will start by breaking down this bundle. Obviously, everything is available individually, but the savings you save by investing in the bundle. And when you see the artwork, you'll realize that they kind of work together. Okay. But let's take a look at the stamps, and then we'll look at the card, and then we'll decide whether you want to get all of them or some of them or none of them. But you know, when you hit a sweet spot, I think we've hit a sweet spot with this. So let's take a look here. When you, at first glance, when you look at these, you think, what am I supposed to do with these? When you see the artwork that our team have created with this, then you realize this is pretty special and actually very easy. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks and tips today. So let's take a look at these. We can see here, we've got, let's move it over this way around. So we've got set 1 and then we've got set 2. So they're long branches, very, very, they're like pointillism, done with loads and loads and loads of dots. So you'll see that I did these myself and they just work beautifully. I'll show you some artwork in a minute. You can add to them, you can overlay them, you can stamp them together, you can drop them, you can bring them in from the side. The art team will show you loads of tricks. So there's set 1. You can see good size stamps. Now, before I even go any further, what I'm going to do now is say, right, because you look at these and you think, oh, these are big stamps. What mount would you use for that? So there is a set of mega mounts. I spoke to Grace about it to show you. It's in the shopping area. So for this show, everything that you see on this show is going to be included in a shop area on our website on the front page. I think it says new today or TV. It's top left hand corner. You'll see it immediately, and everything is in there. Now in that collection there's a set of mega mounts, and they have the perfect sizes for what I'm going to show you. So let me show you. We've got, for example, if I turn this over, you can see you've got one that's like 5 inches by 7 inches. Then you've got one that's, so for individuals, you've got a 4 by 4. Grace will show you the sizes that are in the pack, but the key is this one, the big one. These are 2 mil, beautiful to use. And I just wanted to flag them up because if you're going to treat yourself to these, then you probably ought to pop these in the basket too, just because they're so, well, I'll show you in a minute. Right, so set 1, set 2, we can see here, the collection, as you can see on your screen, is 21264. So that's this fantastic set. No need for masks on these. Then we've got those two there with birds and flowers and grasses. Then we've got the dragonflies. Right, let's get in a bit closer on the dragonflies. I think you'll like these. Let's have a look. So you can see they're very grainy. They're drawn in that way. This was deliberate. You can see that it's like dotty, dotty, dot, 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 dot. But it's just perfect for atmospheric art. Loads of different little dragonflies that I drew. I think you'll like this a lot. So this is part of that bundle, but it's also available individually. If you want to buy them individually, there they are. So you can see them here. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 A6 dragonfly stamp set. So they are available to you if you prefer that. So just to say that they can be bought individually, as can the pair of twigs and sprigs as well. So let me just get those up for you. Blah, blah, blah. There they are. So set 1, set 2. There they are, set 1, set 2, and the dragonfly on its own. My personal favourite is that one. Now, let me just have a look at the card. So we're going to look at artwork. In fact, let's look at artwork on this now so you can understand how this translates. Let's take a look at some of the beautiful samples. We had loads of art samples come through. And so I knew as soon as I saw all these, I thought, wow, where do you go to start? So I've put them into 4 piles. And I thought every now and again, in between demos, I'll come to one of the piles and we'll have a little gallery again, okay? And just remember that this is an angel company. We are an angel company. So if you make things to sell, if you hand make things to sell using our products, then we're here to support you. You have our blessing. And in a minute, I'll show you just how easy it is to use these stamps. But let's just take a look at some of the artwork that the design team have created for us. And then we'll start. Right, so you can see here how they work beautifully in conjunction with other stamps. I think that's always really, really key. But then, for example, here, now who did this one? Jane Telford. But then, like Deborah Wheeler, you can see what she's done is she's just taken the twigs, branches, added a moon in the background or a sun. Isn't that gorgeous? So here's another really lovely one from Tina Morris, using the birds to great effect and our printed background papers. Okay. And then this is a beautiful one from Sheila Metzeler, using watercolor stencil in the background, look, with just the dragonflies on there. Here's another one, little mini makes, Sam Crow, Bowwob paper transfer. Here's another one from Sam Crow, beautiful. You really get to see these little mini makes. The dragonflies are gorgeous. So I'm just showing you on a branch coming in from the side with clouds, you know, just so delicate. And here's one, this is a Tina Morris special, little box, a few of those twigs and sprigs there. And then the tiniest little dragonfly. But how beautiful is this? Check it out. Look, come in a bit closer so you can see it. Isn't that nice? So you're seeing here some of the artwork at its absolute best. I'm aware of the time, so I just want to show you. Here we go. Look, lovely panel, dragonflies down there. All you need is love coming in from the side, moon in the background. The quote stamps that we have I found that they worked really well with this particular kind of artwork. This is a great one from Jane Telford. She's used the product of the month heart and then used the dragonflies around it, which is rather beautiful. This is clever. From Deborah Wheeler, she's used one tiny little flower, which I found myself yesterday on the set. It's this tiny little flower here on set 2. I'll show you. That little flower there. She made a whole tree with it and a branch. And there's the branch there. So the amount of scope and versatility here, and there's a very Japanese artwork from Linda Spencer, using the little flowers that are also included in this set. If I show you the black print, you can see the flowers that have been used here, and both of the sets have a combination of flowers and birds and leaves. So you've really got a great compendium of branch building going on there. Now, while we're on this subject, when you use these Japanese symbols, it completely changes a piece of artwork that might not necessarily be Japanese. It's not a geisha or a pagoda or, you know, or Kilimanjaro. It isn't, or Mount Fuji. You know, it's not typically Japanese, but you can make it Japanese just by adding the narrative with one of those tiny, beautiful little kanji signs. Now, let me show you while we're on that subject, and then I'll show you the paper. Right, but just quickly, let's just get into these so you can see the little signs that I'm talking about. So these are those, since we're in Japan month, this is a beautiful enlightenment set with an enso. This is a lovely little set. Then we've got the enso. This is the symbol of the enso circle. Just because it's in black, think of it in a light green or a beautiful pink in the background. Right, and then we've got the signs. So we've got the set with soul, honesty, life, prosperity. This is an A6 set, 11749, happiness. So you can mask off the English translation if you want to. And then you've got this one, which is serenity, 11673, strength, courage. These are beautiful artistic symbols. In the newspaper this month, I write about that. Yin yang, art, belief. And then what we did was we took all of those 2 sets there and we reduced them in size to one set. If you don't get any of the others, treat yourself to this one, because it takes all of those 2 sets and it combines them, and you'll find that these little signs, they work so beautifully. If you just add that to any one, like you just put art in the corner there, just that there, or look, she's done it actually, Deborah Wheeler did it, serenity there, you see, or here or up here, straight away those little words, life, it takes a card that's not necessarily a Japanese piece of art, and it just gives it a kind of a next level spiritual, I don't know, creative edge. So the number for this particular A6 set is 11750. Right, I know I digress, but I wanted to just show you that as well. Okay, so let's just say we've looked at the 2 sets of sprigs and branches. We've looked at the dragonflies. Now, one of the things that the design team didn't receive was this beautiful pack of card. And let me show you where our thinking was on this. Jazz and I got together on this one, and we're going to start a whole collection of what we call elements. So this one is the first in a whole range. This one's called Earth. And you can see when you look at the back, let's just take that out of the packet. When you look at the back, you can see the different beautiful atmospheric backgrounds. So if I if I just show you a couple of them, you'll see where we're coming from. You see, look, these are just delightful. They're A5, very lovely. Let me just find it on the screen so that you can see. Obviously, it's in the bundle. It's included in the bundle. You can buy them individually, and you can buy them as a pack, a double pack. You see here? So you can get a double pack of those, because my guess is you're going to go through these quite fast. So there it is there. And so 2 packs of these, 31972 if you're not going for the bundle, or if you want to stock up, or on their own 31965. So that's the set. But you just take a look of these at these beautiful moody cloudy backgrounds, and there's 2 different colorways going on here. You've got those lovely browns and beiges and creams going into grays, and then we move into these lovely greens and olives and sages and teals, and you'll be amazed how much you can get out of it. It doesn't look like anything until you start stamping on it. Quite spectacular potential there. So that's our card offering, and 1 pack is included in the bundle. So if you want to stock up, then look, a double pack is £12. So not too much, really. You save £2. I think that might be worth doing, because I think you'll find they work so well. You know, the lovely bird stamps that we did last Sunday, for example, or the butterfly rounds, they work beautifully on there. For scene building, for the wee folk, just lovely. Now, let me see. We'll just pop those cards back. Which pile do they come from? There we are. And then we'll get started. That's all the shopping done. We'll just recap and go back up to the top. Let me just recap, and then we'll take it from there. So here we go. This is the bundle now. Barbara's Dragonflies, Branches, Twigs and Sprigs stamp collection with the Earth Elements card pack. You can see here the product code is 21264. You save £7. £53.46 for all 3 stamp sets and a pack of the card. And if you, of course, then add to that your club discount, so you can save £15, £13.68. You can look down the list to the left and see the great savings that you're going to enjoy there. All of those are available individually, of course, in that show page. And if you wanted to go to a double pack of the Beautiful Elements Earth, then you'll see there are 16 designs in each, so 250 GSM, A5 they are, and you get 1 of each, which is why we thought it would be great to put 2 in the basket. So there you go. That's the bundle. That's what's on offer. And now we'll get started with our demos. Digital downloads we have. So you can see on Clarity Catch Up and Craft, if later on you want to know exactly how this was made, this card was made, then you can look here. If it be so be it. This is the date, what it's called, what was made, and what was used. So this is a digital download for your pleasure. Here's another one, Peace, Love and Understanding. And you can see here, it's what was made, what was used. And then the third demo, if we could get to it, art is what you make it, and isn't it just? And what was used, what was made, and so on. So the 3 digital downloads are there for your pleasure too. And I would say that we work with this one to start with, then we go to that one, and then finally we use the backdrop prints for the third one. There is a flow to this. Now let's just stop, relax, and get started, shall we? How are you all? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. Now, let's see. I think the best thing to do is take a look at these two together, because they actually do sit together. So if I take these two, they are made from one piece of card. And you can see here we've got an embedder around the outside, but both of these are made from one piece of card, namely this piece here. So if I turn this around, you can see that if you look here, you can see exactly that this piece here is that piece there. So that's there. Now let me show you this, because this is the offcut from this. If I take, I'm going to dismantle this one. If I take this, so this is Northern Lights paper, just in case you're wondering, this is Northern Lights companion paper, okay? This is a 7x7 white card blank. This is an 8x8 white card blank. But you can see here that this belongs to that. Now, whereabouts did I find it? There it is. So this piece here is those two cards. Interesting, isn't it? That you can create two lovely bits of artwork out of one of these. So that's the first thing I wanted to flag up. Now, the next thing is, let's take a look at what else we need to do this job. So I'll just pop these to one. I'll pop that one to one side. We'll use that in a minute. We'll use the offcut for that one in a minute. And we're going to use this card. So we've decided that. Now I'm going to bring in my box so you can see what it is I'm actually using. I think it's a good idea for you to actually see what I'm using. Let's take a look at this. So the first thing I need is my masks, my moon masks, right? I need my moon masks. Then let's go in here. If it be, so be it. So that stamp there comes from the quote set, One Day at a Time. And it's set number 1 of our quote sets. If it be, so be it. I just like the tall, I like tall sentiments. Right, so that's that one. Then I'm going to use a mix mat. I used tracing paper to stamp on so that I could position this. After all that work, I wanted to make sure that I was putting it in the right place, so I stamped it onto a piece of tracing paper. So you need a mix mat. You don't need much. Now, I used the nested embedders, the nested square embedders, because I needed a large framer, okay? So I used those as well. I'll put that over here. Then what else did I use? I need my big mount. I need my big mount. The 5x7 inch mount, those mega mounts that I was talking about. Then I used a bit of acrylic white paint because I was trying to get a white on the moon, right? I wanted to get some light on here, on this orb. So I used picket fence and I used a combination. I need some spot on sponges. I need, there's that, if it be, so be it. I've got a couple of little bird stamps already mounted on my stamp pen. What was I? Oh, and then for the embedder, I've got the tool and the blending pen. I also used a Perga color pen to edge my work rather than black. Well, one of the things I want to say here is, and you can see this from the ink pads that I'm using, I didn't use a black ink pad. No black was used in the making of this card. All I've used is brown, hickory, smoke, vintage photo. And there is a black, there's a set of 4 of these. Unfortunately, I don't think I have it in front of me. I apologize. I might, no, they're all the Distress Oxide. Anyway, there is a set of archivals that are these 4. Grace will find you the link, or it'll probably be in that shopping page. But these 4 are brilliant for working on this color here. It just works. You've got 2 dark browns, a grey, and the black if you need it, but I didn't go to it. Right, so I'm going to use those. I'll put the black there because it belongs in the set. Then I decided to see if I could use different oxide ink pads, Distress Oxides on the card, see how it would take it. Okay, so that's how I did the moon and the background. So I've got them as well. Bit of low tack tape, always. Let's put it all in there. Bob's your uncle. And then there's another moon just in case I lose the first one. Okay, so that's everything that I need to do this job. All right? All right. Pop that over there. Got that, got that. If we don't do the embedders, I'm sure we've done that plenty of times. I'd rather stick to this. Okay, so now let's have a look. I mean, I've got the power of hindsight now, so I know where to start. And I want to make sure that I start in the right place. This was my artwork kind of evolved. You know, it doesn't it? I didn't start out and go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut that piece in. I'm going to use that for the dragonflies and that for it didn't work like that. I put the moon in the middle, started working with the branches, and then realized it was quite big and I'd rather square it off. And then it just so happened that the panel was perfect for the dragonflies. Okay, so, but with the power of hindsight, how great that we've got that design feature now. So if I, for example, if I take a ruler and I can see here that is going to be 5.5 by, yeah, about 5.5 by 5.5 finished. So all I'm going to do, see, is it's 5.5. What I'll do is I'll take my low tack tape and I'll make a mark where I want to cut this off. Do you see what I mean? So if I cut that off, let's just make a mark there like that. So I know that that's going to be my artwork there. I can't go further than that. Do you see? That will do. And then that gives me the piece. Let me grab it. There it is. See, so that's my bit for this. There, like that. So that's my edge. I think, you know, you could use a pencil line, but why would you? Now, so now I know where my canvas is, like that. Okay, that works, doesn't it? Now, the next thing we want to do, the first thing we've got to do is put the moon in, but we also want to create the branches. So let's just put the moon in and then we can relax a bit. So I'm using the moon mask, but I'm using the outside because I want to put the color on the inside. So I'm going to just pop this over here and then I can decide, right, where do I want to go with it? I mean, no two pieces of artwork are going to be the same, but that'll probably do it, just like that. Yeah. So I've got my moon. Now, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a layer of ink down on here so that it can dry before I start with the next one. So I was trying with the picket fence. I'm going to relax into this artwork now. And then I also used, there we go. So I've got a Distress Oxide old paper and then the picket fence. I think we've got about 12 of these left. Now, let's have a look. I'm going to try something a bit different than I did yesterday. I coated this with the old paper and then I struggled to get the white coming through. So I want to try something else. If I put the white down first, let's see. That's why I ended up putting, white acrylic paint. See, let's see if this works. This is a pigment ink, you see. So if you smear it, it doesn't really do the job. And you can't really see what I'm doing because it's subtle. But when I looked up how best to use a picket fence ink pad to make it white, it said, do a layer, let it dry. So I thought, all right, then I'll do a layer and let it dry. Now let's just see if it made any difference at all. See, it doesn't to me, but that's all right because we've got, we've definitely got the acrylic paint solution and that works like a charm. Okay, so don't worry about that. I'm using old paper now just to change the colour. We're just going to sweep around this orb. We don't have to, it's quite a lot of white and interesting kind of texture in there anyway, isn't there? So we're just going to add a little bit of, can always come back and add a bit more because in a minute, while this is drying, we're going to sort out the branches. We are going to get to what we are This is preparing our work, isn't it? So we do that, put a layer in. I'm leaving that white area there because I still want to work on that. Okay, right, so let's put this to one side. Everybody happy? Let's have a look. Now, branches. This is where it gets interesting. Just pop these over here for a minute. We'll let that dry. Now, branches. We're going to take our piece of card and we're going to lay up the branches. But the way that we're going to do that, let's say, for example, I'm going to take another piece just by way of argument while that's drying, right? And now I'm going to bring in my stamps. Let's bring these in so you can see them. So I've got my big thing. I've got my stamps. I've got set 1 and set 2. And put them on a piece of white on a bit of white paper so you can see them. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on, and obviously you're looking. Hang on, it's a bit blurry. Come in and automate that a bit. That's a bit sharper now. Okay, so we can see that. So what we've got to do now is create our composition, if you like. Okay, so I'm staying quite large on the screen so that you can see it. And I'm going to put my stamps up there, right? And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, because I want to stamp them at the same time. I'm not going to do one at a time. So I'm going to peel off this stamp, for example, because I think that's the one I want there. Okay, so I'm going to make it so that it's exactly where it's going to sit. I'm going to create my composition on the page. Right, so that's the first thing. Then I'm going to take another one. Let's take this one. And I will pop it there. So it's all facing me as I want to see it. Yeah? Let's have a look. This is another one I want to use. So there are so many different options. Maybe pop that one there, like so. I think I want to use another tall one. Let's see what we've got. There are loads of different options here, but I definitely want to use that one. That one, I probably, where's that little one? That's nice. So let's use the little one there. I think that will look good there. This one will look good there. Might bring another one in over the top in a minute, like that. And then I've got that one. So I've got, you don't have to overthink it. There are loads of different possibilities here, but I think that I'm just trying to emulate what I've already done. But I could take any one of these. Look, I could take that one, pop it there, pop it here. I could come in from the side. But the point I'm trying to make here is that when I do this, if I want them all the same height, see, I can adjust the height. I can make that one taller. I can make that one. A lot of it has to do with where the moon is. But the point is that you take your one mount and you stick them all down at the same time like that. So now when I lift that over, my composition is ready to go. Do you see? So I'm not doing one, then the next one, then the next one. I'm going to do the whole lot at one time. This makes a big difference. And this is why I was saying you could really do with one of those big mega mounts, because now it's all there for me. Do you see? But the thing is, I have to do the moon before I can do this job. So I've got to finish this off before I can carry on, because I can't go back in and do the moon afterwards. Do you see? So if this moon isn't as dark or as white as I'd like it to be, then you understand that the reason is because I should have done a couple of layers on it first. Thing is, there's a lot going on here at Clarity, but you can see that that's going to work nicely. That's working in my favor. And then the white, let's see if we've got a bit of, have we got any white there now? Let's see if that worked. No. So what I'm going to do now, just to put the white in place, I'm going to use my mat and I'm going to use a tiny bit of, I just need it to be a little bit more opaque. So I'm going to use a tiny bit of the We sell this Dale Rowney titanium white, and then I'm going to take my sponge and just add a bit of water. Now, where's the water bottle that we always have here? Here it is. I'm going to dilute this so that it's not so, I don't want it so intense, right? So I'm just going to take some water, soak up the water in the sponge, and then just dab it in there like that. So I'm getting the cloud going. Don't want too much, and I don't want to smear it. I just want it to add a little tiny bit. See, so now I'm coming in now, and now I can add my, gently does it, just add a little bit of opacity to that moon. Don't want it too wet, don't want it bleeding through and underneath the mask, but this will be nice. And then you can always, if afterwards, I can be very careful about putting it around where the branches are. But this is something I have to do before I add. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's a bit better, but you get the picture, don't you? You get how it works. So you can take this color, you could take a bit darker color. While we're on it, let me just grab, where's that other color that I used? The moon is important. This is a real like live demonstration. I think sometimes it's really good just to see how things are built up rather than just, oh, and here's one I did earlier. Now let's get some depth along that. So I'm using, this is going to make the difference. So I'm using, what's this one called? Weathered wood, just to get a little bit of depth on this side of the orb. Yeah, look, just sweep that through there. And let's see what we get now. Right, and then on this side, just so that we've got a little bit of something on the side where the white is. We can always come back in and add a bit more white, but let's just get that going there. I reckon this is going to look better now. Bit more of that white there with the water. This will work nicely. So you just build up your colour. You know those sponges that you use for, they're like real sponges. They're perfect for this because you get like craters as well. That's quite nice. Now let's see if this works. Okay, that'll do. What's more important, we'll just put that on the side for a minute and we'll use that maybe if we want to add a bit more white. What's more important is that we get the moon in place. Yeah, there we are. That's perfect. So I've got my moon, I've got a little bit of atmosphere there. I'm going to replace my moon on the mask to use later. And I could probably do with taking a bit of paper towel and just wiping it. If I put a bit of water on the paper towel, let me just see if I can just wipe this clean. That's it. Just get that off there. There we go. Okay, so a combination of white picket fence and white acrylic will give me a really great moody moon, a moody moon. Right, so now I've got that and I'm putting that on a piece of white copy paper, and I'm going to use the white copy paper to see my, now I want to test my stamping, don't I? So let's just move this over a bit. And I'm going to use my brown archival ink pad. So I've got a vintage photo. So I'm just going to go up on the vintage photo. Let's just see. Vintage photo. I know it takes a while to do this, but it doesn't once you get started. Let me see if I put a little bit of darker down the bottom. See if that, see, so a little bit of patchy. But what I'm going to do is stamp it onto here first. So I want to see what it looks like. Let's make sure that we're happy with what we've got. We can always go in and add a bit more afterwards. But let's see if this is what we fancy. All right, so you're just going to press lightly. It's very forgiving, this artwork, by the way. Yeah, so you can see where we're going with that. So if I pop this on here, so I can see now, right, I've warmed the stamp up. I want to pop that on there like that. Okay, this is going to be cool. Let's do that then. All right. Okay, ink up again. And it should be darker now because it's a second inking. So first one, season the stamp, warm it up, yeah? I mean, you're working with fast drying ink pads, but these are pretty good. Add a bit of brown down the bottom. Now, let's see what we've got when we do this. So we'll turn it round, we'll hold it like so till we're happy with the position, and then we will plant those trees in place. Right, there you go. Don't want to squelch. And what happens is, because these are quite delicate stamps, this is why it's so good to do them all at the same time. Because they're delicate, wispy stamps, they support each other. So you get a really good impression without, see, you get a really good impression with the stamps, and you don't, and they hold each other up. So it's really clever in that regard. So once I've done that, and I've got those 4 there, then I can take the small amount. Let's take the small amount. Maybe I'll take this one now, and I'll pop it on there. So I can see where I want to place it. So I'll just use this one, for example, or maybe I want a taller one. Let's take, because there are so many. Let's see if I could take a taller one. See what I've got. Loads of different ideas. Well, maybe I'll take that one. Let me take this one. Here we go. I'll take that one. See, the other thing is, of course, they bend. So if you wanted to make a twiggy wreath, oh my goodness, off we go, you know. These are so versatile because they're so delicate. So this one here, I'm going to offer it up before I start. Let's say I want to plant that one, and I'm going to pop it there. I'm not too worried about it being, that's where it's going to go. So you don't have to worry about it being overlapping. That's the whole idea. I've never yet been in a forest where they all sit without touching each other. So we'll ink that up, and then that's going to sit, and I can use this as my I'm going to pop that in there like so, say. I could lean it over, maybe not so much, but pop it in there. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this one here, there. Let's use that one. So it's a bit different to the one that I did before, but then, so it should be. So I'll pop that in there, and I'll just bring that down a little bit, like so. There you go. Just pop that in there. Try not to stamp on the table, Barbara. Right, so I've got different, see, and as I say, it's so forgiving because you've got so many different pieces. You can just look at how many different options you've got here. Where do you want to go next, you know? I would say I probably want to use that one. Let's see, that one there. And I can pop that on there. And maybe I'll just do a little tiny piece. Yeah. Or what about that big one? Let's see what these are for. Let's use that one there. This is a good one. And I'm going to use this one from top to bottom. This goes right across like that, a bit of a band. And I'll use a darker brown on this one. So all the time you can see how this is coming together. Right, let's pop that one there. Then we'll just add that. So you can use them individually now to build up your picture. See, so that one comes in there nicely. And maybe I'll... So I think, you see, this is the point, is that you test it on a piece of scrap, you decide where you want them to sit. But I mean, there is no set rule here. You decide where you want to put the branches, where you want to add the birds. That's the whole point, isn't it? So you can just bring them in at an angle. You can bend them over. So if, for example, this one here, you wanted to bend it, well, then you bring it over, you know. So this one got caught in the wind, and you can do what you like with them. They are so flexible. And like I say, for twiggy wreaths, these are amazing. So let's just leave it there. I can always add a few more if I choose to, but that'll do for the moment, I don't want to overcook it. So now I want to add a bird. This is important. This is where the detail comes in. So let's get in really close on this so we can see now where the bird I want to set right in the middle, right there. So I can practice. Let me get this out of the way. If I bring this over. Right, I can practice my bird and he's going to sit. So I want to see him on the pen, right? And I've got to decide what colour I want him to be. So let's see, what's this colour? So I can just stamp him like so, right? That's the darker one. Let's see, is that a darker one? Let's try this one. That's the lighter brown. I think I'll go with a lighter brown, yeah. So you can see exactly where he is. See, the thing with the pens is I can twizzle them. So I'm going to take that brown and I'm going to stamp that right in there. So I'm just going to hover over the top till I'm happy with the position and then pop my bird in. Bingo. And, you know, we're in Japan month, and Japan month, the whole thing is about considered art, about less is more. Where do you want, you know, this little bird and the one in flight, they are the characters, they are the storyteller, aren't they? They are the storytellers. So maybe I'll pop that there like so. There we are. That's it. So those two little birds, they do the job. You've got the orb. It's there. Do you know that you're pretty much there now? Let me just show you. So the next thing, if we bring in this particular artwork, let's go back because this is worth seeing this as well. Right, we've done all that. Now all we've got to do, see there's a little bit, this looks different, doesn't it, down here? So let me show you how to change that. What we need is those trusted spot-on sponges again. How are we doing here? Are we enjoying this? Is it informative? Well, let me show you how to make the depth in the background. So you've got the ink pads in front of you. You've got, I'd always start with the lighter one, but say I can use oxides, I can use archivals, it's up to you. But the idea is that you're sweeping this way. So, for example, if I take my weathered wood, I probably want to put a little bit more depth in the corner here, right? But you can see straight away, just by adding even the light one, which is old paper, or antique linen is another one that's really good, but it changes the colour a little bit. Now let's take a bit of card or paper. Let's just take a piece of card. I was using a bit of card yesterday when I was in my element here. And all I'm going to do is sweep the colour like I'll show you. If I take that, I can sweep that across there like that. See how it changes? Oh, hello. So what it does is it gives you like an edge like that. And then you can bring that in, and that changes it completely. Because now I've got like a ledge there that I got off a piece of card. But I can also take the edge of see the edge of the ink pad? I can use the edge of the ink pad. So I can come in now and I can just use the ink pad direct to paper and just change the colour, be a bit radical, look. And I'm just sweeping that through like that. If I get a line, why'd you fix it if it ain't broke? Right, now I've got the dark one, which is the not dark, like that, look. So I've got pressure, I've got light, I can sweep through like that, I can bring that up like so, I can take a few colours like that. And then once I've got my colour in, this is all I'm doing is just direct to paper off the edge like that. Look, it's a bit extreme what I've done, but you get the picture. Then if I bring that in and I sweep it through, look, I can take it up, I can bring it over. There you go. And that's how I've done that. That's how I've got those colours to sweep through. And I can come in with light, I can take dark, I can use archivals, but the whole idea is that you get that edge there and you can bring your own colours in and sweep right across as far as you like. That's it. That's the bottom line. So that's how you get that edge. That's exactly how I did that. You see? If you feel it's too dark, then you can always go back in once it's dry with a lighter color again. That's the magic of the oxides. They do layer up. So now I've done that bit, and I can change if I want to. You can always add it. You can always add it. You just can't take it away, right? So I can bring a little bit more depth up there. There you go. Get that. You're adding your own mood now. That's it. And then I'll add a little bit of depth in that corner. But now, really, we're almost ready to add the words. So, but I'm going to chop this before I do that. I think I'll chop it, you know. So let me just make sure that I'm chopping it in the right place. Yeah. Just a second. I want to measure it because I want to make sure the Dragonfly project, it's like that. That's how quick it is. But at least I need to have the right level of, I need to have the right size card, 5.5. So let me just check that. I need 5.5. Bear with me a second. 5.5. And then I'll cut it off there. 5.5 is good. Okay. 5.5. Perfect. There you go. And that is my scrap for that. That's it. That's all it is. Bingo. Look. So that works for that. In a minute, that'll be an easy make. Now let's take a look. I've still got a bit of masking tape on there, but that's good. Okay, coming together now. Okay, next thing, words. So my words, I could put I wanted to put see, it's up to you where you want to put them, isn't it? Feels like I'm a bit closer, I'm a bit further over this time. I think the birds are a bit further over this time, you know? So rather than cram it, I'm not even going to add it. You see, when I look at this, my birds, see how I had more space? So that was where I would put that. That's a bit too busy, I think. It's too close to the central images. So we won't even bother. Let's just stop while the going's good, I say. Now, let me see. What was I going to use to go around the outside? Bear with me a second, because I had it in front of me. I had my box, just a tick, because it was, I know what it was. It was the grey. Stay there a minute. Maybe I can grab it out of here. Oh, the grey's not in there. Oh, here it is. Grey. Right, grey. Okay, so the grey, not the thin one. I'm going to go with the grey. See, that grey works beautifully with the weathered wood. Right, so let's have a go. I'm just going to go make sure that we don't travel into the artwork. So I'm just going to go down like that. Down we go. If you're thinking, I'd never do that, let me show you something. These fingers here hold the art in place and I don't stop halfway. So I get my pen in and then I push down rather than in. See? You could always use a ruler if you feel that you're worried that you might go into the artwork. But what it does is it gives the art just a tiny little edge. If you can see that, especially on the lighter area, you can see it just gives the artwork a tiny little edge like that. So if I take that, now I'll tell you what I do want to do. Right, stay there a minute. I'm going to trim it because it needs to be square. So I think I'll take a bit off the bottom. That needs, so I'll have to go back again and do that. I might take a bit off the bottom. Let's have a look. Yeah, and a bit off the top. So I'm going to have to do those lines again twice. You just have to figure it out, really. Look. So there. Now we'll go back in with this again. So trick is to trim it first, I suppose. Right. Just watch my fingers. See my fingers here? They lean down like that. And then when I travel with the pen, you just chisel in. You don't push in, you push down. Right, so that now, friends, let's get a clean piece of copy paper to show you. That now is that picture done. There. So if we pan out a little bit, you can see that it's pretty much exactly the same as that one. Yeah. And you know what's done it? It's the background paper. That is the key to the whole thing. And if I wanted to add more branches, I can carry on. I can add another branch if I choose to. I can add leaves. But you know what we say, and the Japan culture is less is more, white space, a little bird on a branch speaks volumes, you know. What gives you more emotional impression? A single flower or a huge bouquet? See, to me, that it's that minimalistic art that looks so beautiful. So that's the first thing I want to show. Now, if with your permission, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go straight into the next one, because this is this bit here. So I just want to show you how this is made, because I want to include the next set of stamps, which are the dragonflies. So we're going to take the dragonflies out now. We'll use those. And then I'll use, so now we're going to look at the branches that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go to set 1, right? And I'm going to take that and I'm going to lay it up. I can see exactly where I've gone. There it is there, right? There's that one there. That's it. And then I've got that one. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to, and it's got a bit of a bend. That's all. So I'm going to lay it down so I'm looking at it. I'm going to leave a little gap and I'm going to bend it over like so, just a little bit. Yeah. So this comes over that way. This comes in and I'm going to leave a little gap. Less is more. That gives me room to put a dragonfly. Blah, la, 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 la. So I could do them individually or I could do them together. My tip is do them together, because that, you know, when we do one stamp on its own, one-liners, it's quite difficult, isn't it? It's a lot of anti-wobble device. So now I can take my big mount again from that Mega Mount set, and we'll see what we've got. So I'm just going to press that into place. Look, I'll just press that. Let's take this one over here a little bit. I might add it afterwards. I'm definitely going to have to bend it over, so to speak. Right, so pop that on there like so. Now let's have a look if we compare it. I'll just lift that off for a minute so you can see what I've done. So that is and all I've done is bent it there, see? So we'll just take this and bend it like that. That'll do. If after a while of bending and manipulating, your branches and twigs and sprigs, you find they start to lose their cling, all you've got to do is take a damp paper cloth and wipe the backs and let them dry, because it will be all the lanolin from your fingers or dust that stops it clinging. So you just need to wipe the surface clean, and then it will come, let it dry, and then it will come right back to the day you bought it. Okay, they don't stop being, just got to clean it with water, does the job. And you can also use IPA, alcohol, what's it called? Let's have a look. My brain's a bit of a fog today. Yeah, isopropyl alcohol, the rubbing alcohol. This is also another good thing to clean. If you're using, let's say, a lot of archival inks, you know, and you want to clean them, but it's not necessary really. Okay, so now we've gathered up our art so we can set that down on there now. So we just pop that to one side like that. And you may say, cool, it's a bit dark and somber. Yeah, but the thing is, that gives you a perfect place to put a really nice message. That dark area is just brilliant for a light message. So you tie in the top to the bottom. So now that's going to sit like that there, like that there. Right, now what colour should we go for? I'm going for that darker one again. You know, it's worth taking a look at our selection of it's worth taking a look at our selection of ink pads, our archival ink pads. We've got fantastic. This little set of 4 with the browns and the grey, really cool. Very, very cool. Right, let's see what we got. If I want to test it on scrap. Well, I say one for test and one for best. See? So now that and that, I just have to press. I don't want to squelch it because they're quite fine stamps, aren't they? And they are deliberately kind of grungy, like they are. When I drew them with little dots and dashes to give them this effect. That's it. So you can see I want to put a little bit more. I think I need a little bit more ink up the top there. So that's all right. It's the first time. So that'll work. So what colours have I got here? I think this is the lighter one. So let's go lighter to the top. Yeah, I want it lighter to the top and then darker at the bottom. Yeah. I'm just going to make a little bit more in there, so lighter. Right, and then we'll turn that round. And you know, the thing is, what I found yesterday when I was working with these stamps, I could have played I did play all day. It was just such a pleasure to use them. And the ideas that just kept popping. I mean, you've only got to look at the samples, and we should have another look at some of the art samples of the design team, because they did a fantastic job. Right, there you go. So now we've got a really grungy edge on that. And what we're going to do is use that now as our background for our dragonflies. So I think I'm going to use this dragon. I'm going to use the same colours. Okay, let me just make sure I've got the dragonfly. Let me just pop the dragonfly on there so I can see where I want to place her, right? Or damselfly. So she could go somewhere in there. That's fine. Let's try her out on here first. But you can see how easy this is, can't you? Maybe I'll go with a darker colour. Let's check it out. It seems to be quite dark. Dark grey would be good as well. Let's just make sure that it stamps up. We know where we want to place it. I'm happy with that position there. Let's see. Nice. Right, so that's going to go exactly in that spot there. Agreed? And the dragonflies are drawn in the same style as the branches, so that's why they sit together so beautifully. So we'll go like that. We'll bring that in there. You don't have to worry if the dragonfly is in front of the branches. It's great. So just a little bit of pressure. And if you miss a bit, it's easy to just go in with a dot with the grey or brown perga colour and just not the fat end, the thin end, and just add. If I want, I mean, I haven't missed a bit, but say I wanted to add a little bit of interest, or I missed a bit of the branch, I can always just go in dot 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 dot, and then look, I can add another little branch if I want to. The browns and the greys are the key to that job. So I've done that dragonfly. Let's see, I've got a smaller one. This is a nice one. This one here. So we could use our stamp pens, or I'll use what I've got in front of me. Right, so I'm going to go with this little dragonfly. Let's see if we pop her up there like so. Perfect. So she's going to sit up there like right at the top there in the same colour. I told you this one wouldn't take long. I'm going to pop that in there like so. That's that one. Right, and pop that away. And then the tiny one, there's a tiny little one down here. I like that one. Now there I do need my stamp pen. So let me just put the bird, my precious little bird, back on its home base. And I'm going to use this stamp pen. Right, now with the stamp pen, I can see, give a little wiggle. See, so I'll move it around until I'm happy with the position. That's it. So I've got my 3 in place. Good. Now this is easy. This is one of the words from the stamp set, peace, love and understanding. So all I've done is taken that word, popped that onto a mount, taken a piece of white stencil card. I'll show you. Take the same colour as you used for the other piece of artwork, all the rest, the branches and the twigs and the sprigs. Right, and then we're going to lift that over. Now all we're going to do is just pop that on there like so. That's it. And then you cut it out, add an edge with your brown, see, and that's how you get that little panel. And because rather than stamp it straight onto here, be a bit dark, see, I'm trying to break up the depth here and use that to my advantage. So the way to do that is to use a little white piece, and then I can move it around, you see. See, I think that looks great just there like so. Now, the only thing that I haven't done on this one yet, which I've done on this one, is added a flash of colour. You can see that? It doesn't get easier than this. Let me just show you. If I take these are the things that I used. So I used the brown one to do the edging, and then I used the pink one from our Polychromo set just to add a flash of colour. So what I'm going to do now is just scribble exactly the same. Well, try and stay in the Dragonfly grey. Look, just be a bit more measured in where there like that. See? I kind of went over the line there, but that's all right. A little bit of pink in there, just a flash. Don't need much. The tiniest amount. There we go. And then if I had my rubber, my eraser, which I have got somewhere, I'll take that colour out that I went over the edge. But I don't think I brought a rubber with me. But you get that. That's easy enough. Right. So that, my friends, is it done. The only thing that I've still got to do is add this around the outside, and I'm going to go with, there you go, see? So I'm going to go with my brown pen this time. Am I happy with the size? Do I want to trim it? Probably want to trim it first, lessons learned. And I probably want to take it off the bottom because it's quite dark down there. Yeah? So I'll just take a quarter. What are we on now? Let's go to 5.5. There you go. That's about right. A bit shorter than before, but that's good. And then we'll take our brown pen. And we're just going to add brown to the edge. So no black, just a soft brown. That's it. That's that. These poker colours just took on a life of their own again, didn't they? I wish I had an eraser pencil. Usually I've got all this stuff with me, but I don't. So there you go. That's fine. Nobody's going to notice that. And then you take that, then you pop that on there. And then, you see, you've got your Northern Lights, your companion paper. And then this sits on there, like that. And that's your card done. And you're using, that's the one we just did. That's the one I did before. It's exactly the same. Okay. But it's using the scrap from the original one. So when you put this together and you put that together, you've made 2 cards out of one. It's pretty cool. Dark to the top, dark to the bottom, dark to the side. These are so versatile, aren't they? So there you go. It's 11:15, and I actually think that what we'll do is we'll stop there, because I know that the sun must be shining, and I feel that you've learned loads. One thing I will say is, on that third download, I just want to say that, I mean, this atmospheric paper is pretty fantastic, but when you look at the third download, you'll see that I used our lovely backdrop prints, which is far more colourful. Well, it's just fresh and spring-like, as opposed to mine, which are very muted, very Japanese, I feel. Do you know that, you know what would look really cool on this one, where I didn't have room to write "All You Need Is Love," or "If It Be, So Be It"? Where did I get "All You Need Is Love" from? What would look amazing, okay, yeah, if I had them with me, that's exactly what I would do as well. I think that one of these would look brilliant. Yeah, what size? I'd probably go with the smaller one, because the birds are so tiny, right? And I would go to this one. Oh, look. And I would take one of those. Now, which one would you use? Happiness, that one there. Art, something in that corner. I want to go in this corner. Life, that'd be lovely. That one in the corner there, life, because it looks like a little birdhouse. Wouldn't that look superb in that corner in a dark brown? So there you go, my friends. That's, in a nutshell, what I want to explain here is that those twigs, sprigs and branches are best served on a big plate and laid up and stamped together. I just figured it out, because there's, you know, it's that single line thing. When they're all together, it works best. And then, of course, the other thing is that you've got so much bendability. So if you wanted to try and make a wreath, then you've still got, we haven't even touched on the flowers and the leaves that go as well. That's what I used in that third card. I really went to town on the flowers and the leaves in the third sample. Now, where is it? Here it is. And you'll see on my third sample, even then, I used the dragonflies, injected a little bit of blue into them, but I still used grey on the flowers. So, you know, that's something to consider. By comparison, check this out, Jane Telford, she used all the little bits and made the wildest wreath, which works, and it's using all the little flowers and trees. Then you can go to this kind of artwork, which is the simple, just beautiful mica powder, something metallic on the dragonflies. Let's just take a couple of minutes to enjoy some artwork. This is a gorgeous one by Sonia Goodliff. You see acrylic paint and dragonflies. Quite something these are. Julie Dunn in a round. That's gorgeous. Sheila Metzeler, very Japanese. And a tree with blossoms. Quite something these are. This is a really fabulous one by Sam Crow, using all the other parts. Should we just have a couple of minutes to enjoy this artwork? Sheila Metzeler. This is a gorgeous one. Deborah Wheeler, 4 little panels in grey. There's a nice panel as well. Deborah Wheeler, just an ink panel. They look great. Deborah Wheeler, little flowers. There's a stamp in the set. This is worth showing you. This little stamp here, you can see it's just a little tiny piece. And if you repeat stamp it like Deb did all the way along, it gives you a fantastic base for grasses at the base. So, for example, if I wanted to make this one a little bit more organic along the bottom, I could add a couple of those, maybe add a couple of leaves. Look, just random leaves here and there, rather than filling the whole thing. just a little tiny leaf or a flower. Yeah, fantastic. I tell you what, I think we've hit the jackpot with these. And I can tell that just looking at the fantastic artwork that the team have sent in. This is another gorgeous piece of artwork by Tina Morris on designer parchment. This is lovely with a lattice stencil in the background. Debbie McMullin. They're pretty cool, aren't they? Landscapes in the background, Sheila Metzeler. See, I'm a bit of a less is more kind of gal. This is lovely, Sarah Brennan. Coming in from the sides. You see, they work really nicely, Sheila, with other stamps in your stash too. So I won't show you all the artwork because there's a lot of it. But what I will do is maybe on, how about on Monday afternoon? Monday afternoon, Mini Makes Monday, we're going to have a little catch up. And I'm going to round up the demos that I haven't done. Like there was one really nice one using the birds. We'll do that on Monday. There's this one. We'll do that on Monday. And then there's also, I want to show you how to make some cranes, paper cranes. We'll make a paper crane chain. So maybe we could even do that together. If you've got the little Japanese papers, the Japanese blossoms that are pouring out the door here, these ones, 31964, then I'll show you how to fold a Japanese piece crane. It's a piece of cake. Well, once you know how. So lots of love to you. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you invest in these stamps. Don't forget, if you add one of the products of the month to your basket, then that unlocks double points on the whole basket. Have a wonderful weekend. Grace and I are heading off now to go and see Oma and Uncle Steve and Auntie Sheila. So we're going to go for lunch. I hope that you enjoyed that. I can't tell you what a joy it is to use these stamps. It's so freeing because of the way they're drawn. It's just easy. And if you stamp them onto that mottled background, it just got a lot easier. So lots of love. Enjoy your weekend. Gracie, everything all right? Now, don't forget, Paul is on Hobby Maker this afternoon at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And he's got some gorgeous things to show off. So if you don't fancy going out and you fancy investing in some beautiful new Groovi plates, then that's the destination. Lots of love. Bye-bye now. Thanks, Grace, for joining me. See you next time. See you Monday.